Hello and welcome to my blackjacking guide. This guide is going to show you how to be as efficient as possible while blackjacking, also known as tick perfect. I'll show you the visual cues you need to do that pretty easily. It's not quite as click intensive as a lot of people think it is. A lot of people just randomly, click a lot of times hoping they'll, do it perfectly, but I'll show you just how to click once for each action. So blackjacking is the best experience from 45 thieving all the way to 91, and it gets really good once you can start blackjacking the Menophyte thugs. You get a really big bump in experience. I'll mostly be demonstrating on Menophyte thugs, but all the techniques I show apply to all the different guys you can blackjack, so I'm going to get right into it. In order to start blackjacking, you'll need to have completed the Fued Quest, and you'll need to go to Polnivnich. The level 45 and 55 requirement bandits are at the north section of Polnivnich, and the level 65 requirement Menophyte thugs are in the south section of Polnivnich. Gear setup is pretty straightforward. You just need to bring noted food and coins to exchange the noted food. There's no bank in Polnivnich, but there is a bank exchange merchant. So then you also need to bring your maple blackjack. There are different kinds of maple blackjacks. I have the O version, but I believe they all operate the same. As long as you have the maple one, you're good to go. And then optionally, you can bring the rogue set. It's just going to double the amount of money you make. And I think from about 70 thieving to 85, I made about 2 mil while wearing the rogue set. So that's up to you. And then, bring the rest of your slots or fashionscape. These bandits that carry the blackjack are the bandits you can train on at level 45 thieving. And at 55 thieving, you can move up to these bandits that have the scimitar. They'll be better experience, so you'll definitely want to move to them as soon as you hit 55 thieving. And at 65 thieving, you can finally move on to these exquisitely robed Menophyte thugs. They'll be the best experience you can get blackjacking. Okay, so the main thing with blackjacking is you knock the person out and then you pickpocket them while they're on the ground. So the first action you do is knockout, and when your blackjack is at the maximum distance forward, right at the climax of your swing, you want to click pickpocket. So you knock out and then click pickpocket right at the climax there. So the situation we just got is when you fail the knockout. So you always want to pickpocket at the climax, because whenever you fail the knockout, the Menophyte thug will start attacking your character, and you can interrupt that by pickpocketing. So whether or not they get knocked down or the knockout fails, you always can pickpocket to interrupt their combat or to start the pickpocket sequence. So the main situation you're looking for is when the knockout succeeds and you get to pickpocket them twice while they're on the ground. You want to initiate the pickpocket the same as before at the climax of your swing, like you always initiate that first pickpocket. And then, as your character begins the Berry Bones animation to pickpocket the Menophyte thug while he's on the ground, you'll notice that your blackjack disappears. As soon as your blackjack disappears, you want to initiate the second pickpocket. And then, as soon as the blackjack disappears for the second pickpocket, you want to initiate another knockout, and then the situation repeats itself. So you knock out, pickpocket, as soon as it disappears, do the second one, and then you knock out again. So in that situation, I did the second pickpocket at such a time that it didn't actually show the second animation, so you just have to memorize the timing. But most of the time, the blackjack will disappear. There's one final situation that I want to address, and that's when both the knockout and the pickpocket fail. So when that happens, you're stunned for a significant duration and you can't move or resume pickpocketing. All you can do during that time is eat food and open your coin pouches. And if you do it quickly enough, you actually have time to eat at least 2 food and open the coin pouches while you're stunned. Under normal circumstances, you can resume blackjacking as soon as the bird stops circling your character's head. However, whenever you eat during the stun, it actually will increase that duration a little bit and you have to wait longer. And just to point out, this method does work on mobile. You just have to make sure to enable the single tap controls. And mobile's been updating so much lately that it's difficult for me to make a tutorial on that, because even just recently it changed and it's still in beta, so I'm not sure what it might look like, but here's a quick clip of me doing it on mobile. Okay, so eventually you will probably mess up and you'll get stuck in combat with the Menifite Thug. So there are a couple of things you can do to stop this. The first one is you can just run over here to these stairs. You can climb up the stairs and then come back, and you should be unaggressive by the time you get back. The other thing you can do is you can stay here and wait for a hit splat, and as soon as you see the hit splat, click lure. And as it goes, you want to go through the dialogue as fast as you can, so you get through the entire dialogue before he hits you a second time. So I'm going to wait for a hit splat, and then I'm going to go through the dialogue really quickly. He said go away, I'm busy, so that was a fail. You have to try again. So you wait for a hit splat, spam through here. If you get the it's a surprise follow me, then he'll stop attacking you, and you want to wait for your health bar to disappear before going back in for another knockout. If you knock out before your health bar disappears, he'll continue attacking you again, and you'll have to do the lure all over. So eventually you'll run out of food and you'll need to get more. There's no bank in Polnivnich, so I'd recommend using or bringing some noted food, because there's a merchant that does exchange noted items for their actual item near this general store in Polnivnich. So you'll have to run north from the Menifite thugs or south from the bandits, depending on which ones you're working from. So I'm just going to go ahead and run over to the general store. So there is a banknote exchange merchant. You just want to use your noted food on him, and you can click this exchange all or press 3 on your keyboard, and he'll convert your banknotes. One more thing is when you're luring the bandit inside this house, it's kind of finicky. You have to make sure he's on this side so that he'll follow you in, because you kind of have to go diagonal like this. So you'll just want to make sure that you kind of run to this square so he follows you to this spot, and then you can run inside. If you try to do it from a different place, he sometimes gets stuck. So if you're having a hard time, just make sure you use that corner to lure him in. And finally, one tip I would have for PC is to use fixed mode, and then use a client such as OSBuddy or RuneLite to stretch the game. So normally this would be half the size that it is. If you notice, my mouse is pretty small, and the menus are pretty big in comparison to my mouse. It makes it a lot easier to click on these menus since they're kind of small when you use the normal size client. So in RuneLite, you look up the RuneLite thing and you change this game size. I have it at double, so you want to keep it as powers of the original resolution. So this is at double the original resolution, and you kind of want to keep it that way because otherwise it kind of looks funny. Stuff gets a little bit stretched. So you can do this, and then you can double this again if you have a very large monitor. But this seems to work for me. So you want to have the game size here, and then you also want to look up stretched mode, and you want to enable that. And I keep increased performance checked because it makes it a little bit sharper. When you have it unchecked, everything looks a little bit blurry. It's a little bit difficult to see in this video, but I like to keep that checked, and then keep resizable scaling to 100%. So that just makes it a lot easier to click on the menu items. They're much larger, and it'll really reduce that carpal tunnel set in, you know. Another tip I have is getting rid of this attack option so that there's less distance between your mouse and pickpocket when you right click. So to do that, you go to Options, Controls, and then select Hidden on this NPC attack options drop down. So yeah, that's all you need to know about doing blackjacking efficiently. I was able to get, above 200k experience per hour when I really tried, and then when I was kind of doing other things, AFKing now and then, I could still keep it above like 120k per hour. So yeah, that's blackjacking. If there are other questions, feel free to leave comments, and I'll try to answer them as I see them. Thanks for watching.